Welcome back to episode 49 of Barely Maintaining, the show where we're one caffeine crash away from a meltdown. We're still showing up, barely. I'm Michael Guyton, your host, therapist, and emotional sports punching bag. As always, I'm here with the lovable landowner from LeClaire, Ryan Burheit. This week we'll talk about local sports, of course. There's an overpaid players list I want to mention, and of course, anything else happening around the sports world. That being said, Ryan, what do you got for us? Anything awesome and interesting in the NFL? I guess to start.
This one jumped off the page a little bit because I forgot he was a free agent, and honestly forgot he's still in the NFL. Free agent cornerback Stephon Gilmore hopes to play in the right situation this year. I can still contribute. I honestly forgot he was still playing. He was for the Vikings last year, I believe. He's a guy that had like a good year and then all of a sudden just kind of fell off. He had like a couple years and then fell off.
He's not on the Patriots anymore?
No. He's,
I'm scared. Yeah. Oh.
Let's see.
Haven't heard of him in a minute.
Yeah. Titans, Cam Ward not expecting quarterback one job just to be given to him over Will Levis. Well, you should.
The job you will definitely not win is the meme maker job.
Yeah. Let's see. Steelers signed general manager Omar Khan to new 3-year contract. New Steelers tight end Gianno Smith on trade from Dolphins. Got to go where I'm appreciated. Let's see.
Okay. Sure. If you say so.
Scouting for Cade Klubnik for next year, I believe. Athletic Clemson quarterback feels like a smaller Ryan Tannehill. Is that good?
No. I don't know. I guess if you're a certain fan base.
Yeah. Bills first round pick Maxwell Hairston accused of sexual assault in lawsuit. That's a good way to start off your rookie year. Kader Kahohu ready for challenge of being leader in Dolphins reshaped cornerback room after the big news this week, which was the Jalen Ramsey kind of trade / pretty much he was like begging to get off the team, right? Like,
are you confused about this as I am?
Yeah.
Just based on like, I don't know. I think obviously I'm an Alabama guy, so Fitzpatrick or I'd rather have Minka personally. And he's a couple years younger, and like it just seemed like a linear move, not like your team got better.
Yeah.
I don't know. They needed the tight end, I guess, but they have Freiermuth. I don't know. Just the whole thing seemed confusing.
And it's not like the Dolphins one either, really. Like, so I'm very It's a very like linear move. There must have been some upset players in both those situations that was kind of a here we're gonna help you out to help us out, so let's figure this all out together kind of a thing. Which always feels weird when that happens for two NFL teams who are competing to be against each other, like because they're both in the AFL, right? Or
yeah. The
AFC,
yeah. Are both, and not in the same division, but I mean, I don't know. Neither team seemed to like benefit from it. Really, to me.
So
they lost a tight end.
Yeah.
Down there, but then they got Waller. Blah 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 blah.
Which that was weird too. He was retired.
Okay. Literally coming out with rap albums.
They had to trade a retired guy. That didn't make any sense either.
Obviously, there was some talk before that, though, that he was going to come there. That's why they got rid of him, right?
I think.
I guess we're getting called about Komet a whole bunch in that situation there too.
The
Bears were.
I hope nothing happens with that.
Obviously, nothing did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that because we got Loveland, yada yada.
But
we'll talk more about Komet.
Yeah, as I say, after that whole thing, he got a phone call. So, Ohio governor signs 2 years, $60 billion budget that includes funding for Brown's new stadium. So it looks like that's going. There looks like they're on schedule to get that new stadium.
So a new factory of sadness there in Cleveland.
Yeah,
interesting.
It'll have a brown paper bag dealer out of it. Isn't Cleveland the one that like always wears those?
Yeah, they're actually going to build the new stadium on the site of an old brown paper bag factory.
They'll still include like the actual building.
That'll be their merch.
Let's see. Rodney Harrison to be inducted into Chargers Hall of Fame during 2025 season. The first 8 players or 9 players of the top 100 players were released. Sam Laporta was on there, so that was pretty cool as a Hawkeye fan.
Yeah.
He is definitely one of the top ones. It's Ladd McConkey at 100. Are you excited to be 100, or are you like, oh?
If I'm Ladd McConkey, I am, because there's 300 some guys in the league, and I'm in the top 100, and I'm a second player.
I always find that funny.
I guess it depends on the guy. If I've been in the league for 10 years, and I'm in,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a little obviously
like
not as bad,
insult.
but like it's a little bit like being the last pick of the draft, right? Like I got drafted, but like the last choice. Now they're throwing me a parade.
Unless you're Brock Purdy and you save the 49ers franchise.
Yeah.
Total.
Number 99 was Leonard Williams. Let's see. Aaron Jones at 98. Drake London. Levante
I hate
David.
Aaron Jones, but he is a good running back.
Yeah. I feel like I hate him because he's a good running back and he's been against the Bears for, 5 years now,
exactly.
right? With the Packers and then is it 5 years or so, right? That's about right.
Probably. It's been a while.
After the Super Bowl performance, I 100% believe Josh Sweat being at number 95 is a highway robbery for him. He should be way higher on that list. Or lower, technically. I always hate that. It's technically lower on the list, higher in the ranking.
It's high. It's higher. It's higher because I look at it from, if you're looking at it from 100.
Right. If it's actually listed out, he's going to be higher up on the list, a lower number. But he's single-handedly tore apart all of Kansas City's defensive or offensive line in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I will say though their defensive front is like all Hall of Famers. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And
which is all Georgia guys.
Yeah. Creed Humphrey, Sam Laporta, Jesse Bates, and then 91 was Tua. Which
his brain is actually ranked 300th still in the league.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
I always love seeing like the build the worst quarterback, and it's like Tua's brain. It's like
not his brain so much as his skull.
Yeah. Soon it'll be the brain. If it takes 1 or 2 more hits.
to his wife in Kansas, it's gonna be his brain.
But that was kind of the news for the week. I feel like there was one
this
more.
This is gonna really come back and haunt us if something bad happens to Tua.
Nah,
this is gonna be
everybody's expecting it to happen.
This is the clip they play from our show, though.
Yeah.
These guys just making fun of him.
By the way, go listen. I think that was pretty much the most of the news for the week. There's kind of
There's
some
a little
ones
interesting caveat from the Steelers as well. TJ Watt possible trade.
Yeah, I have seen that a lot because they don't want to pay him, right?
Because I guess. I don't know.
That means there's two potential defensive ends that are insane that are
How
still
is
not
that?
paid.
How are you? Yeah, I don't understand. How are you even messing around with this?
Yeah.
If you're the Steelers,
Yeah,
what's your
because
option? He's got you by the balls, man. Just pay him.
yeah, he's one of the best defensive ends in the league right now, if not the best. Depending on kind of where you're ranking them, it's kind of preference for the top couple. He's top 5 for sure.
He's probably should have been the defensive player of the year last couple of years and got robbed.
Yeah.
Because of like spectacular games here and there from the other guys. But he's always in the top.
Yeah.
If not the top guy for sacks. It's crazy that he might be better than JJ.
Which is just insane because he was
because JJ's
too.
And JJ was like the last from that kind of old, more physical kind of Urlacher era. You know what I mean? Where like they were brutes.
Yeah.
And TJ seems more of like a kind of a newer modern one.
With like a, it's like it's cool. He's like your hybrid of like the old school and new school because like he can be physical and bull rush right through you, but at the same time he's just as good as doing the new kind of outside linebacker-esque defensive end.
Right.
Because that's all they are anymore. Is they're just basically outside linebackers that are playing in a stance.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of them were in college outside linebackers or just linebackers in general.
Yeah.
They get some size to them and they stick them in the line. Would you want TJ? Obviously, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
As long as you don't have to give up anything as far as their future goes.
Yeah.
I would take any other defensive end at this point. Opposite of Sweat would be nice.
Yeah.
Because then you could have all sorts of different packages, you know, because we got some up and comers, I think, but I don't want to just depend on them either.
Right.
And if you're rotating, I mean, every guy's fresh all the time. I mean, that's a way to do it.
Yeah.
So let me tell them about Happy Can here in a second, and then when we come back, I want to talk about this the NFL's most overpaid player at every position by Bleacher Report. Came out yesterday. And see your thoughts on it. Make sure you guys are trying on Happy Can. We appreciate them throwing us some of their cans, and they're actually really good. We really enjoy those.
Yeah, love them.
It is a good way to chill if you're not into alcohol, especially, which I'm not. I would prefer chiller vibes. So yeah, the list came out, and obviously, you know, I'm referring to the Chicago Bears. Cole Kmet. They said he was our worst contract. He's 26-year-old, 7th highest paid tight end in the league, which, I think that's accurate, right?
Yeah.
Which is pushing it for a guy with 0 800-yard seasons and 19 touchdowns. But that's not really his job, or hasn't been. And a 4-year, $50 million contract. I disagree with it in the fact that he was who we needed him to be in these last couple of years. As far as someone to block down, right?
Yeah, and Eberflus' scheme didn't throw to him a lot, which sucked because he also is good at that. Also, when you think 7th in the league paid wise for tight end. Laporte is about to get paid. I'm sure there's so many tight ends now that Kittle reset the market again. Like there's so many tight ends that are about to get paid that are probably going to go above and beyond him, and he's probably going to be middle tier again. He just got his contract last year instead of being one of the guys that's about to go around in the rounds next year.
Right. And again, he was like, we had no line.
Yeah.
So even if the scheme didn't call for it, it's like you had to have him helping some guys.
Right.
Especially if they're going up against a top tier, defensive end on the other side. So I don't think you can't really base it on the production, because what are you going to say? Like how many blocks did he have?
Yeah.
I'm okay with ours. Looking at the list, the rest of the NFC, Jair Alexander, obviously Green Bay doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Defensive tackle.
Where did he go again?
Didn't he go to the Ravens?
I think so, but I can't remember. I couldn't remember for sure.
Yeah, and then Jonathan Allen as the defensive tackle. All defensive guys in the NFC North is what the Bleacher Report's saying. And the funny thing is that they have for the Jags they put Trevor Lawrence.
Really?
But yeah, because if you're just looking at numbers, his production hasn't met his contract.
Yeah. I would say me and you have went back and forth on that. Like, this is kind of put up or shut up this year, right? Like, you got a new GM. Did they get a new coach, or is it still Doug Peterson or whatever his name is?
I can't even tell you. I think they got a new everything down there, didn't they?
If that's the case, this is kind of put up or shut up, right? Like, GM coach, if Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's had so many years to figure it out, and he really doesn't put up. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback by any means, but he's never really, at this point, he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, right?
It's like he's like an M. Night Shyamalan, where he started out good and got worse. You know what I mean? He had Signs and like The Village, and then
now he just put out a movie about a guy being a serial killer stuck in a freaking concert. That was his really latest.
That actually might be a little more interesting than the Lady of the Lake and whatever else. I mean, I think he owes me about 12 hours of my life back. Similar to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Every time I watch him play. No, I think Trevor Lawrence is the best lesbian quarterback to ever be in the NFL.
It's the best Ellen DeGeneres out there.
She's really good. It's funny because they put Travis Kelce up there. It's like, well, so you're just looking at numbers, and he had his worst season last year, but we're in a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
If you're just strictly looking at production,
and this is his last year of his contract too.
The decline is glaring, it said, for the 35-year-old who just scored 8 touchdowns in the last 2 years combined and remains the highest paid tight end in the NFL. How do you have him and not pay him the most?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At where KC is at this point, you know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, the last 2 seasons, but you've been in the Super Bowl the last 2 seasons, and he was clutch in some of those. Maybe not so much last year, but the year before, for sure.
Yeah.
They have Chargers Khalil Mack.
Before we go past that, though, did you hear what Jamar Chase said? Patrick Mahomes without Travis Kelce is just a Kirk Cousins with a headband.
Oh man! Wow. Okay.
That's rough.
Yeah, especially since again that's not the guy who's getting the points or getting the yards. Last year,
Also, your quarterback has you and T. Higgins. Like, so if you're talking about quarterbacks that are made by their player, you literally have two of the top wide receivers in the league right now.
Yeah, easily. Joe Burrows is good though.
Yeah. So is Pat Mahomes.
1-on-1. What do you think? Basketball game to 21.
Kermit.
W's, that's all I get.
Yeah.
Be dunking on him.
Just Pat Mahomes'
Joe's
arm
like,
talent is just insane. Dude, Pat Mahomes will be
Burrows
shooting
would be
threes like this. He'll just be all of a sudden it's a three.
That's Mahomes is like, Burrows is like, is there models there?
Yeah.
If there's models watching, then I'll probably beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a Batmobile though.
That's true. He does
I would
win.
much rather hang around Joe Burrow's girlfriends than Pat Mahomes' wife.
Oh yeah. Or his brother.
All respect.
Jesus, his brother is so.
Nobody in that camp.
Yeah.
Except for Pat. I'm good.
Yeah.
Unless it's Travis and Kels and Taylor, but
Yeah. Which she showed up to Tight End U and played a song. That was
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, we got to talk about that. What is your thoughts on Tight End U and
I was
all that?
listening to an interview from Bustin' with the Boys, and Travis Kelce was like, "We've gotten less about football and more about just like bros being bros." Like, and like he said, we'd all just go to like, because Kittle's got like a fucking like training barn on his property that they just all hang out at too. That he's just building his childhood dreams in this barn in Tennessee, but they were talking about it, and Kelsey's like, yeah, I had to figure out on a spur of the moment, I forgot I was teaching because I was hungover from just smashing beers at Kittle's place, and I forgot I had to do route schemes for 30 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm up? Like, oh. you just run routes, I guess. And like, but from what I heard, like, Taylor was there and was like the nicest person in the world, like just did everything for everybody there and just like was super cool, and then hung out with like Kittle's wife, because I think George Kittle's wife is in charge of like getting all the spouses from the players and like getting their gift bags together, like treating them to the week that, you know, all the players are there, so they get a week too for them. So I think that's just a cool thing. It'd be so cool just to go see.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I mean, if there are seminars like that, because it is growing into a thing. Like, it's a place to go get better. I feel like, especially if you get to learn from a guy like Travis Kelce or George Kittle,
Greg Olsen, Dallas Clark was there. Like, just.
I mean, if I'm
pretty much just you get to go learn from Iowa tight ends. Like, great.
I mean, honestly though.
Yeah.
What school produces more NFL tight ends?
Yeah. It's usually Notre Dame and like Iowa that are like the tops.
It's rarely Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Is it?
There's quite a few years where it's been Notre Dame too. Like Cole Kmet's year. They had a really good tight end come out of there last year too, I believe.
Name one other one. Name one more.
I can't think of his name, but last year, the last draft, there was supposedly a pretty good tight end. I can't remember what his name is though.
Obviously Michigan.
Yeah.
A lot of the Big Ten just has some good linemen in general and tight ends.
Yeah. This is because they play like the old school style football though. A lot of them, like they play some spread, but they also just run the ball like crazy and use the tight end spreads.
But earlier I'd mentioned Bill Mack. You think he's overpaid at $18 million? 34-year-old, 25 mil.
I think this year you're going to see that he's overpaid. Because Joey's not on the
Again,
other side, right?
I mean, how do you have him and not pay him that at this point? You know, it's like, again, what would you do?
Yeah.
And what's your alternative if you're the Chargers as far as defensive end? Drop him and pick up another contract with Trey Hendrickson or TJ Watt that's more?
Best case scenario, you try and somehow figure out how to get... Because Bosa's gone, right? Didn't he leave? Yeah. So you got to get somebody on the other side. Because that was, in my opinion, that is the only reason Mac was so good. Is because you also have to worry about Joey Bosa on the other side. Now it's only going to be Mac.
Right. Yeah. Where is Bosa?
Bosa is... Oh gosh, he's on the Bills? That made them better. I forgot about that.
That was a... Thoughts on... Because I was looking at on the free agency list, and Von Miller's still out there.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a mid-season pickup, right?
Possibly.
Like, hey, we had some injuries.
Or if something happens in training camp.
Or we're making a run and we need just that extra little piece, like, to plug in there.
Yeah. Going back to that overpaid list, they had Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I agree. Like 100%.
31-year-old, 4-year, $240 million. One of the worst in sports, they say. He's been a part of 2 playoff wins in his career, has missed large chunks of 3 of the last 5 seasons, and struggled even when healthy. 2025. Yikes. I did watch some highlights from a game where they, where did he go? Mississippi State or Texas A&M or somewhere. They're like red and white. They're like maroon.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. But
I think it was Mississippi State.
They're supposed to really like pulling on Alabama, and they got worked over. It was just really cool highlight to see Dak Prescott run for his life. And he threw 3 interceptions in the first half or something.
So I was wrong. It's Miami that is the other universe. That's the other tight end view.
Oh, really?
Jeremy Shockey, Greg Olson, Jimmy Graham, Bubba Franks, Kellen Winslow.
Nothing recently, though, huh?
What was the last year they had? Somebody...
Aaron Hernandez?
Florida. That was Florida.
Oh. No, that was...
It was Florida because he had Tim Tebow on the same team.
Yeah, the Gators. What is that?
Yeah.
Florida State or something?
No, Florida Gators. Florida Gators.
Just University of Florida?
Yeah. The blue and orange, yeah.
Which one were you saying? Miami?
Yeah.
That's the Hurricanes, right?
Yep.
There's just so many damn Florida schools I can't keep track. Florida State, University of Florida.
They also have,
Miami.
I would say one of my secondary college teams is out of Florida, too. And it's USF.
Yeah.
Southern Florida. They've always just played kind of like an Oregon-style football with, like, some lower-name guys and somehow make it work. And, like, they're always fast as shit and slippery. They're a rival to Bama, aren't they? Or, like, kind of like a game that they play that there's, like...
Yeah, I mean, the rival is really Auburn, but I will say that they're one of the teams that play, even when they're, like, unranked, they give Alabama a run for their money.
They did last year, didn't they? Bama pulled it out, right?
Last couple times they played.
Yeah.
Last couple times, but it's actually a close game, and it's like everyone expects them to whip up. But I'm always like, this is the team. They got a good coach, good recruiter, and Saban even said like he's building a good program. That program is gonna, if they stick with him, is gonna be a real competitor.
Yeah.
In the SEC, so I agree.
They've always just been fun for me. It's just like they always produce like a really fun, like they're slick, like they're like hard to tackle. They play that Oregon style where they're just like fast paced. Everything's just speed.
Also the Bulls.
Yep.
Which is weird for Florida.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I guess there's like the Panhandle would be like kind of like southern, like rodeo style stuff, right?
Redneck Riviera? I don't know, maybe the top part.
But also they are southern Florida, so that doesn't really work.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
I mean, honestly, when you're in Florida, everything's southern.
I don't know. I wonder what the correlation with the bull is.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that and have the president of the university on.
It's actually one of the most looked up things for Google. Why is USF mascot a bull?
What the hell's going on here? Well, turns out
The students selected a bull as their mascot in 1962, inspired by Florida cattle raising history and wanting a mascot comparable to the Texas Longhorns.
Losers.
Initially, the mascot was the Golden Brahmin.
I would have chosen crocodile. You got the Gators?
Yeah.
The University of Southern Florida Crocodiles.
I love that it's Rocky the Bull. Like Rocky Mountain oysters.
Well, Rocky is also... Isn't that the squirrel's name? And with the...
Oh, and Bullwinkle? Yeah.
Isn't it named after The Rock? Went there? He'd go somewhere in Florida.
It's actually there, like a rocky beach right next to him, so.
This is really lame, dude.
They took it literally, just like, nah, it's really rocky here, man.
Just looking around. It's like Brick from Anchorman.
It's like if I asked Max to name something, it's like rock.
Elaine.
Yeah.
What should the bull's name be? What's in my pocket? A rock.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Yeah. Because they always add a Y.
So, the other thing I wanted to touch on was this free agency list. Can you believe? I mean, you probably can, but Jadeveon Clowney.
I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I'm surprised he's bounced around so much. Like, don't get me wrong, and unless it's something to do with like his team thinks he's like, he was drafted way too early in my opinion because of one hit against Michigan.
It looked like he knocked the dude's head off, though.
Yeah, which is cool.
The visual was
but
amazing.
Also like, he really didn't have that great of a season that year, other than that hit. Like, he was good, but I wouldn't say he was like. He was way overhyped. I think he's a great player, and he even plays well, like, in NFL. But he's not like he's not a Bosa. He's not a Watt. He's not like those types of guys. But he's a great. Put him on the other side of a Bosa. Put him on the other side of a Mac. Put him on the other side of a Sweat. Great. But like, it seems like his team thinks he's more than that, and I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah, possibly. But I think he was like a serviceable guy, and if he's not asking for the bank,
Yeah.
and if you're not dependent on him, like 90% of the plays,
Give me 5 sacks a year, and like just do your job, and I'm happy with you as long as you're not asking for millions and millions and millions of dollars. Like if you're just asking for like a reasonable contract, then cool.
Zadarius Smith is still out there too.
Zadarius Smith.
He's 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Lions last year and was originally, I believe, Packers. Was on the Browns and Lions. Smith had 9 sacks and 38 pressures last year. That's pretty good.
Linebacker, right? Or defensive end.
Edge rusher.
Yeah.
And he's 32.
Chicago
so
Bears consider signing Zadarius Smith 5 hours ago.
He's 32. He's same age as Jadeveon. So, and he's familiar with the division. Matthew Judon is also out there as far as edge rushers go. He's a year older. Had 15.5 sacks in 2022, but he's starting to decline. He had 5.5 sacks last season. That also might be because a situation from Atlanta Falcons,
Yeah.
who they were last year, as part of it. Because you don't really go from 15.5 down to 5 without
Yeah.
some dramatic stuff happening on that line.
You know what I always
feel
find
like,
weird is like defensive linemen always have to have this like secondary prime years in like the early 30s. I always find that weird.
Yeah, well, I think if they're good, then they figure out, they're not one-trick ponies, and they figure out what they're good at,
Yeah. And then they're able to
And-
use that
and-
leverage and know how to not hurt their bodies even if they're older, kind of like thing. It's just always cool to me, like them and offensive linemen, like they always like figure out how to use their bodies a little later. Like they'll be good. Like don't get me wrong, obviously like there's Pro Bowl young linemen on both sides, but like they'll also have this weird surgency again when they're like 30 to 32-ish area of being like this good defensive or offensive lineman again, where they've figured out how to use their body in a little bit different of a way. And it's just always been interesting to me that they kind of have that like secondary prime.
I love that, especially because, like, from a Bears situation, they've gotten some of these big names later, and
Yeah.
they've gotten, like the Julius Peppers and the Cleo Max and some of those
Right.
guys. Obviously, it wasn't as old as the early 30s, but later developed careers, and
Right.
still getting some good stuff out of them. So we're familiar with it in Chicago as far as edge rush goes. I love it. I love seeing those guys have a resurgence, and some of them it's like kind of redemption,
Yeah.
because were like the dude and then not the dude, and then have a chance to kind of show that they still got something left in the tank.
Right.
So I'm hoping maybe one of those guys. It'd be cool to see as a Bear. And Von Miller's still out there, like I mentioned before, as well.
Yeah.
And Vaughn is 36, though. He's getting way up there comparatively to the other guys, which is weird. He seems younger to me in my head than Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick second and tell about Fanatics, and I'll be right back.
Hey guys, just want to take a break from the podcast to tell you about Fanatics. Fanatics, you can find everything you need to support your team, from jerseys and hats to hoodies and accessories. We've got it all. It's officially licensed, so you know you're getting the real deal. And here's the best part. We've teamed up with Fanatics to bring you an exclusive offer. You use the code 24SHIP at checkout to get free shipping on orders over $24. Just by using our special link in the show notes on our website, you'll be able to directly support our podcast. So head over to fanatics.com, load up the best Bears gear, use code 24SHIP for free shipping on orders over $24. It's a win-win. Show off your Bears pride, help keep Barely Maintaining going strong. Thank you for your support, and as always, bear down.
All right, we back. Make sure you check out Fanatics. We're not only sponsored, we're also customers. So, who else is on that free agency list that I want to talk about? There's someone else. Oh, Keenan Allen. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Also, just an Alabama guy. Amari Cooper's on there too. I feel like Amari's top now, age-wise.
Yeah, I would say so too. I would say those two specifically. Well, actually, no, not Keenan Allen, because Keenan Allen is very limited to where he said he'll go. It was back to LA, either for the Chargers or the Rams, because he just wants to go back to LA, or he'd stay in Chicago. Those like the three places that he had said. So like, he's pretty limited. Amari Cooper though, I feel like he is definitely, like I said earlier, one of those guys that like a Von Miller, where, hey, we have an injured running wide receiver and we still have a chance at this. Come fill in, be that specialty route runner guy that you are, and just have a quarterback be able to know he's got a guy out there that he can throw to. I just feel like those two guys are like the Von Miller and like Amari Cooper specifically could be guys that are like late pickups if somebody gets hurt, or even like you said, training camps if they get hurt in training camps, like or preseason. like it's still a chance to be picking up those guys.
Yeah. I agree. And, where Amari Cooper went to college.
Yeah.
So the more Alabama guys we can get, the better. no, I would love to see him have like a career capper.
Yeah.
Just have a great season, or it'd be cool to see him play all the way to the last game of the year in the Super Bowl. But no, I don't know. We got. I think we'll be competitive, but I think we got a couple of years before we're there.
Yeah.
But man, we got some good pieces coming. If we can get these players signed and get them practicing, that's kind of a concern at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody on the list that I wanted to otherwise that was like super interesting, but yeah, those were the ones that kind of stood out.
Yeah. I will say I'm getting more and more excited though because we get football this month. It's a shitty football game, but it's a football game. The Hall of Fame game.
Hall of Fame game, okay.
Yeah. So
and
there
who
is
it this year?
Who is it this year? Hopefully not the Bears again, because that sucks.
No, it's not.
Lions and Chargers on the 31st. So, like I said, it's barely this month. It's not a good game at all, but it is football in the month of July. And then we have 7, well, as of recording today, we have 8, but by the time this comes out, we'll have 7 Saturdays to college football. And college football pump-ups are coming out, videos. I love them so much. So I'm just pumped for football to be back. It's so exciting.
Yes, most definitely. I am excited for this year for the Crimson Tide.
And potentially a Hawkeye game.
Huh?
And potentially a Hawkeye game.
Oh, yeah. I think for sure a Hawkeye game.
Because
definitely not going to an Alabama game. But predictions for Iowa's record this year?
let's see. I need to pull up the schedule again because I forget.
12-0.
No.
National championship.
We have a pretty tough schedule. We've got Penn State, Oregon, USC.
Well, that's a problem with Iowa. They've won just enough games to really keep themselves in really competitive games.
Yeah.
So you actually are going to play some ranked teams this year, but you need to be in the playoff, So
9 wins. I could see 9 wins.
Okay. I like it.
That is a loss to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's a loss to Indiana if they reload. It's a loss to Penn State because they didn't really seem to change much, and that's a loss to Oregon.
I think you guys get Indiana. That's my prediction on that one.
I think so too. But 9 wins also, we always fight Wisconsin hard. That's always a good game.
When Indiana came time to really play, they got their asses handed to them.
Yeah. We're getting Iowa State back this year. We're getting that game back. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Albany, UMass.
Stars players to watch. Who are you interested in this year?
Astronga. So yes, and he is one of the top-rated tight ends. So
okay.
We have one of the top-rated centers in the nation, and then obviously defense. We've got AJ Epinessa's brother this year, who was a 5-star recruit. Cooper DeJean's brother.
Oh, nice.
So, and then we have the whatever the league under the NCAA is, the South Dakota State's quarterback that won their national championship for that division is now on our team, and he's supposed to be really good. So I'm excited to see that. if we get some offense rolling and we actually throw the ball, it might be fun to watch. So, and for whatever reason, Iowa gets good wide receiver recruits, even though nobody throws the fucking ball. So,
yeah, what's going to be the situation there?
last year it started showing signs towards the end that the offensive coordinator was getting a little bit more control, and he was airing it out. And then apparently in the spring game, they were running like a West Coast air raid. So I'm excited. Like, it's been a long time, obviously, since I was throwing the damn ball. Obviously, last year you didn't have, like, as much as people want to make fun of it, when you've got Caleb Johnson, you don't really have to throw the ball either. So, like, I could see that, like, being like a, people are, oh, you guys can't throw the ball. It's like, also, like, you don't really need to. Like, you don't need to rely on that.
But there's also situations where you could tell Ferentz was just too conservative.
100%. Like, that's what lost the Iowa State game.
When he should have just aired it out, and he didn't let him. But yeah, I just was curious about that. Who's the QB? That new one. Right?
What is his name? It's Renowski or something like that. I always forget how to say it.
We got a couple kids. I don't know who's going to be our starter down in Alabama, but
Mark Gronkowski, sorry, is what his name is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he played for South Dakota State last year.
His uncle was a tight end.
Yeah.
For Patriots.
Is Ryan Williams able to leave after this year, or has he got to stay one more year?
I think he can.
Is it 2 years that you have to play? Or is,
I think so.
Yeah. Do you think he'll go after this year?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, my opinion is he's going to be the best wide receiver.
I think so too. He's so fast.
Alabama. Yeah, and his hands, he's just got very fluid. I've watched a lot of Alabama football and watched Julio Jones. He was like one of the best college football wide receivers.
But it's also a different style, right? Like, this is more of a, like, just, like, both hard to tackle, but Julio would run right through you after he caught the ball. Yeah. Whereas, like, Ryan Williams, good luck touching him. Like, he just... Yeah. Like, when he did that spin move and the freaking defenders just ran into each other and, like, just tackled themselves, basically, because they were so lost in where to tackle. It's just... He's insane to watch. Like, obviously, I am impartial to the Big Ten because, like, I love that, like, right now, like, SEC and Big Ten, okay, who's going to play third place? Like, those are the two, like... They're them right now.
It's honestly it's been just Big Ten, really. Yeah. To be honest, like, SEC has to step up. I will say, I think there's, the Big Ten is more top loaded. Like, there's better teams at the top, but we have kind of more of the next tier in the SEC. You know. But there's a bunch of teams coming on. Illinois is getting better. They're getting a bunch of recruits.
It used to be the opposite way around. I feel like SEC used to be like, you have your at one point your Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and then like maybe Tennessee, depending on the year, and then kind of it would fall off a lot there because Auburn would be like competitive against Bama, but like other than that, wasn't for a few years wasn't very good. And then whereas like Big Ten had like Ohio State, Michigan. And then from there, it was like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa would all beat the shit out of each other and kind of place those like secondary spots. Sometimes Nebraska. I'm not even going to get into that because, who cares?
But now you've also added Oregon, USC, which like had their like big time runs, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I was in my early 20s, it was all USC, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, SEC added Texas and Oklahoma. So, you know, there's a kind of an offset there too.
Yeah.
So, good running back replacing Caleb Johnson. Do you know?
They had a guy.
They still got Jam Miller.
Oh yeah,
little Jam Miller up the middle. So that's our dude.
Who's replacing Milrow?
I don't know. Ty Simpson is probably the guy. He's a sophomore, but there's a freshman named Austin Mack. He's a 6'6" freshman that's like 200 plus pounds, and he is like, scrambler, I guess. So, well, it depends on how it goes, I guess. We'll see. And you know how the roster is. There's like 5 QBs on the roster right now.
Yeah.
But Ty Simpson's the oldest.
Yeah.
And,
we've got
and he's pretty good.
We have 5 freshman running backs on the roster.
Jeez. But if you look at the roster, how many guys are above sophomores anyway?
1, 2, 3. I mean, there's quite a bit. You gotta remember Iowa though, keeps a lot of their players stay quite a few years.
See, there's some juniors here, but I've only seen 1 senior in the whole list, 2 seniors, 3. There's not very many seniors on this team at all. Very few. That I see anyway. Defense. I'm excited. We have obviously a tough schedule ourselves. They're always going to have some cupcake games to get warmed up.
Yeah.
Just like everybody.
That's the one thing I always hate, not from you, but there's other people that I listen to that'll be like, yeah, but the SEC doesn't play cupcakes. It's like, no, you do. You play a game early, and then SEC has that week where they play shitty teams.
Yeah.
That's way down the road.
One of it, we play Florida State week 1 at Florida State.
Yeah.
August 30th.
I mean, if they're last year, they're going to be a giant letdown again. Yeah. I couldn't believe that last year. They were supposed to be one of the top teams coming in, and they won 2 games.
But then our cupcake is University of Louisiana Monroe. We play them every year, and it is a cupcake, but that team gets $2 million for playing.
And don't they come to try and prove themselves a lot of years?
I mean, they always do. They always do. Yeah. I mean, there's been games where they've been competitive, for sure. And then we got Wisconsin at home.
Nice.
So we'll get a Big Ten.
You guys have played them a few times, right? As of recently? Yeah.
I feel like we do. That's one of the Big Ten teams Alabama plays.
Yeah. They just like to stick with white and red against teams, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Just classic old school teams that have been around for 150 years. Yeah. At Georgia versus Vanderbilt, at Missouri versus Tennessee, at South Carolina. And then we got LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois. 1:00 on ESPN Plus, November 22nd.
Yeah, that's the week where the SEC is let's take a break, guys.
We got to get ready for this playoff coming up. Yeah. And then, of course, we got the Iron Bowl, last game in the season. Iowa they always do Nebraska last game, right?
Yep. The day after, it's Black Friday.
Yeah.
It's a night game on Black Friday. But we have we have 8 trophy games.
Yeah.
We have a million of them. This is
SEC does that shit too. I don't know what they all are.
Yeah, we play for a bowl. We play for a pig. We play for whatever the Nebraska one, the Heroes Bowl play. Yeah. For the Cyhawk Trophy.
They've started doing some of the schools have done championship belts and stuff. It's
the bus. I like that the Bussin' with the Boys got a bowl game where they made a trophy for Michigan, Nebraska.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then they made a bet with the Kelsey brothers, the New Heights versus Bussin' Bowl, because Nebraska plays Cincinnati.
Right.
Real high scoring game there.
I like seeing Nebraska get beat up.
Friggin' Mahomes wannabe. Dylan Raiola.
We get our revenge on Tennessee this year, though. Tennessee's coming to Alabama.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Tennessee reloads this year. Because they were pretty good for, like, it was kind of back and forth for them last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought Pavia was going to be way better than he
Yeah.
is.
And then Texas will be interesting because the Manning.
He was their main guy. So, and then what happened with that one dude? Hey, he's already gone.
Which one?
He wanted more NIL money, and then he had to leave. They're like, no. Isn't that Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Their quarterback. And then he had to go.
he's like UCLA, right?
Less. Yeah, and then had to take less money. Who's that dude? I can't remember. So who knows what's going on over there? So yeah, we're up against it here. What's going on in local sports, real quick, for the last?
Nico Lamaliva was the Tennessee quarterback.
He's still on the roster.
He's at UCLA officially now, though. He did switch. ESPN still has a bunch of. ESPN needs to figure their crap out because they're behind a lot.
ESPN hire Ryan.
Yeah.
Do your socials.
Some cool news for the Steamwheelers. We clinched a playoff spot, so we're back in the playoffs again. We've been in the playoffs every year we've been around, I believe, is what Doug was saying, right?
Yeah.
And then I believe it's Kyle Kaplan. The kicker is, I think he's the only kicker in the league at this point. Every week he's winning Special Teams Player of the Year, or week, so he's just clinching that.
He wins Special Teams Player of the Year every week?
Yeah.
That's how good he is.
Every week he wins Special Team Player of the Week, so I'm starting to think he's the only Special Teams player in the league.
He kicks for every team.
Yeah.
Bring out the kicker.
But he killed. I mean, he just keeps killing it. So, but yeah, they.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. For the Riverbandits, they lost tonight, 6-3. They're playing the Colonels right now. As we've talked about in past weeks, Colonels are the ones that ended up winning the first half of the season. There's kind of back and forth with the Riverbandits quite a bit. This week, though, we've pretty well split it. We're 2-3 against them this week. We play them again tomorrow at 1:05. Or actually, no. We play them tomorrow at 6:30. So we are 2-2 against them right now. We play them tomorrow. I keep thinking today's Saturday for some reason. It's throwing us off. We're recording on
Saturday.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Friday this week, and it's throwing me off. I'm all sorts out of. I didn't have to work today. So we play them tomorrow at 6:30, and we play them at 1:05 on Sunday, both in Cedar Rapids. So hopefully we can kind of clinch up the last two games against them and kind of win that series and kind of jump ahead again.
Yeah. Because we hate the Colonels.
Michael hates the Colonels. I grew up with the Colonels.
Named after poop, dude. Talked about this.
Mascot's just a giant corn cob.
You know what you don't see in poop? A river bandit, okay?
I hope not.
I've looked. Never once. It has a little bandana on.
Yeah. It's like, whoa. The day you find it is the day. Just what
did I eat?
Ah! The hell is that?
What the hell did I eat the game last night? Miniature river bandit. So with that being said, that is,
anyways,
all the sports locally. I like that we have some winning sports locally. That's cool.
Yeah.
Steamwheelers were right there knocking on the door. So even though our beloved Bears might give us anxiety, local sports keep us going.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Especially those Steamwheelers, man. They're insane. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like you said, one of the best in the league, really.
Yeah.
They're always kind of right up there, and they were just a couple points from winning the whole thing. So we're looking forward to watching them win a championship this year, and you know, hopefully getting a ring from them because we had their owner on this year.
Yeah, we play
The team.
the Blizzards next week in Moline. So
F them Blizzards.
yeah.
Blizzards suck, dude. Especially if you got
Well, that's Green Bay, so especially screw them. But we've split
in Green Bay.
the Blizzard. Green Bay Blizzard.
What else is there?
Yeah. We've split so far with them this year. We 1-1 against them, so we need to clinch that up. Then we got 2 more games after that, and then we got playoffs. We got the Barnstormers and then the Tulsa Oilers. So
Nice.
I believe
We could beat all of them easily. 'Cause they all
Barnstormers.
suck.
Yeah, this year we're 3-0 against the Barnstormers, so not to look past them, but pretty easy. Kurt Warner wannabes.
Barnstormers. Should be the Tornadoes.
Yeah. I would say, I used to growing up, I thought their helmets were pretty sick, that they had got like the like eyes, the old school like flying glasses on the helmet.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. And Kurt Warner
It
played
apparently
there,
doesn't
so that was
help
kind of cool.
It doesn't help them win games, apparently.
No. Doesn't seem to.
Also, I'm going to start a petition just to bring back basketball to the Quad Cities. We used to have the Quad City Thunder here.
I think that'd be sweet.
Bring back a G League team of some sort would be cool, or whatever it is. I don't know what league it would be, but let's get a team going. Come on, rich people. Where are you at? We could be the QC. I don't know. What are we known for? Square pizzas?
Oh. Ooh.
What's
The
QC?
Barnstormers are 1-11.
Losers.
The QC, what would you name the basketball team?
Yeah, because Thunder's stolen from us, so.
Riverboats?
Whitetail deer. Remember how you hit one?
Yeah. No, I didn't hit
Remember when you
one.
murdered one?
I ran over it. I finished it off.
Yeah. And then just kept going. Didn't even stop, report it, or nothing.
Yeah.
Run. You heard it here first. Ryan. Murder. Killed a deer.
That messed up Max. He still talks about that.
Yeah, I bet.
Dad killed a deer.
Yeah. Laying in bed, he's like,
Well, I didn't, but
remember when
already-
you murdered that deer?
he's already dead.
Your kids in the car. Remember when you were angry at his dad and murdered that deer? Like, what? I was just driving. All right. Well, as we come to close on our 49th episode, I want to thank Julie Burhite, Lindsay O'Brien for giving us time to do this. Especially Lindsay and my daughter Sonny, because they're completely out of town, so I have all the time in the world tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Friday, so I got to work tomorrow, but we'll be back next week. And the
we
dog
missed-
days is,
We missed a big thing. It was, it is currently the week of the John Deere Classic.
Oh, yeah, we got golf going on, right?
Yeah. All right, cool.
We'll talk about that next week.
Hopefully,
And,
I have a little bit more than that.
I'm going to make Ryan name the 3 white guys on the back of the Super Bowl Shuffle album. All Nation. I'll give you one of them. Jim McMahon.
Yeah,
There's
I was
2
gonna
other
say.
white guys on there. That's next week. So you have a week to research it. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Or, well, you'll hear us next week.